Sometimes it's hard to make space for what you don't even recognize you're not addressing. And that's what happens when we fall prey to our biases, especially our unconscious ones. I can tell you that happened to me just the other day. I was eagerly awaiting to sit down with a brilliant thought leader named Tim. And Tim had wonderful recommendations, testimonials spoken about them. So I was really excited for their knowledge. And it wasn't until I was met by a lovely woman that I realized I really do often fall prey to some unconscious biases, and I imagine I am not the only one who does. Greetings, and welcome to this podcast, Unconscious Bias, brought to you in partnership with Tri-County Schools Insurance Program and provided by Anthem's Employee Assistance Program. My name is Ra Kalan. They, she pronouns. I'm an emotional intelligence consultant, an emotional health coach, and I hold a master's degree in clinical counseling. And today I want to start you off in understanding exactly how profound unpacking our unconscious bias can be, because it helps us see where our blinders have kept us locked in. So I want you to grab a sheet of paper and a pen. And I want you to follow me through this activity just to start to pick around in your brain to see where your shadows and your biases might lie. I want you to write down the first 3 words and descriptions that come to mind when you hear the following 3 titles. When you hear a leader, what words and descriptions come to mind? Okay, so that's what you think about leaders. How about when I say a nurse? What descriptions come up for you? Okay. 3rd time's the charm. How about a scientist? What imagery, what descriptions, what words do you describe typical scientists with? Now, since you have been so beautiful in playing along, I want to help you deepen your thinking here. Take a moment to process where might these associations have come from? What you wrote down, how you see leaders, the traits that they exude and the way that they present and appear. You probably came up with a specific mental image. The same probably happened with nurses, and very likely the same with scientists. Do your answers reflect any stereotypes? And it's okay if you find that they do. And how might these unconscious associations influence the decisions or interactions you have with the people who you unconsciously place into certain boxes? Now, in the midst of these conversations where we unpack unconscious bias, it's important for us to lean in with curiosity instead of judgment about ourselves. I highlight here being curious instead of judgmental because this is not an activity to make you feel bad. It is an activity to help you see how you can open up to a grander space of possibilities when we lean away from our assumptions. And this is why this conversation is all the more necessary. So let's dive in to understanding where these assumptions come from. And the irony here, to talk to you about something that you are already completely unaware of in many instances. But this is what makes this conversation so valuable. See, our unconscious biases are simply our people preferences. When we are navigating throughout life, we are hardwiring our preference for people who look like us, who sound like us, and who share our interests. It doesn't mean that we are intentionally trying to exclude others, but as our preferences develop, we end up bypassing, choosing to expand our awareness of how people different than us can contribute to our atmospheres and to our professional environments. Possible causes could include just cultural backgrounds, or maybe even pop culture norms. But regardless of what we cause the problem with, we want to start to solve it. Because we are missing out on wonderful opportunities at diversity, we're missing out at wonderful opportunities at deeper connection and more innovative ideas when we do not see the wealth of knowledge that comes from people who are different than us. So there's a concept that's been being spoken about, and the concept is called selective attention. And when we talk about unconscious bias, not necessarily recognizing what you don't think to recognize, it's really being based off of this concept of selective attention. This is a cognitive process in which we as people attend to one or maybe just a few of our sensory inputs, and then, well, we ignore the other ones. This selective attention, it limits us from seeing the bigger picture. Have you ever heard someone say, "Yeah, I can see the forest, but I can't see the trees"? They might be referencing their selective attention there. And it's important as we talk about selective attention, as well as understanding our unconscious biases, to start to give you some examples of what unconscious bias can look like. It can break down into gender bias, assuming leadership roles are better suited for a certain gender instead of being open-minded to the individual who could best be suited for the position. How about age bias? Thinking younger staff are less capable or experienced, assuming that age directly correlates with skill level or wisdom. And maybe even affinity bias is one you need to look at. Favoring those people with similar backgrounds, because it just feels more familiar to you. The reason why we take the time to highlight the variety of different biases is because what you don't know, you can't do anything about. But as soon as you are clued in on the different biases that you might be activating unconsciously, you can begin to move in the direction of practicing more objective self-awareness. And when we talk about objective self-awareness, it is the foundational element of emotional intelligence. And it means that you and your staff are going to move in the direction of being able to look at yourselves with the objective awareness that you have strengths and you have weaknesses. And that awareness in yourself will give you room to demonstrate compassion and greater awareness culturally, that other people around you have strengths and they have weaknesses. And our goal as a professional environment is to bring everyone together so that we can create innovative, solution-oriented ideas out of all of our strengths, and so that we can uplift and encourage one another through our individual weaknesses. Carl Jung has an excellent quote reminding us that until we make the unconscious conscious, well, it will direct our lives and it will call it fate. If you are wanting to expand what your fate looks like, you want to expand your objective self-awareness. And by coming to the understanding of this expansion, meaning that you have more access to more creativity, greater professionalism, and higher confidence, it incentivizes you to open up your blinders and to take in the beauty of the diversity around you in a way that your brain might not have known how to unlock before. We want to thank you for tuning in such an open-minded way to this dialogue, this conversation about unconscious bias, brought to you on behalf of Tri-County Schools Insurance Groups, as well as your Anthem EAP. You can always reach out to your EAP at 800-999-7222 or visiting the website www.anthemeap.com/TCSIG. My name is Ra Kalan, and it has been a joy to help you be more gentle as you unpack your unconscious biases.